Hello and welcome to Heroes of Improv. I am Kira Tyson, an improviser, a teacher, and an associate producer of Duluth, the improvised soap opera. And I'm so looking forward to it because we are starting very, very soon. We're in the last weeks of preparation and getting the technical side really up to speed. So please subscribe so you don't miss the big premiere. It will be every Sunday from the 23rd of May. That's our premiere date. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss it. Put on the little bell, the signal bell, so it will remind you as well. With me today, even more exciting, is Martin Boedicker, and I am so excited. Thank you so much for coming, Martin. You are seriously an improviser for me that you infuse me, how do I say this? You infuse me with inspiration. I love talking to you. I love playing with you simply because you have so much theoretical knowledge. And when I start talking to you, it's like I never end on ideas with you. We just bounce and bounce and you are so creative, but you do so much for the other people. And I really want to say this, especially in the pandemic, your name, out of the very few out there, your name has made tidal waves. People are talking about you in the improv scene across the globe, not just in Germany, because you're in Düsseldorf, but suddenly everywhere you're talking to other people and we hear, oh, Martin Boedicker. Oh, have you played with Martin? Have you been to his lessons? And everybody's getting this, what am I missing? It's like there's a new trend. And I call this trend Martin Boedicker trend. So I am thrilled to have you here today. And we will be talking about improv and dramatic improv, because that is one thing that you are mastering and teaching beautifully. So Martin, tell me, first of all, where are you from? Let the people know. You're in Düsseldorf. Give us a quick update of who you are, when you started improv, how you got to improv.
Yeah. I'm zooming in from West Germany, close to Düsseldorf. And I started improv now 5 years ago, something like that. I'm quite new to it, but I was teaching all my life adults. I was a Tai Chi teacher. I was teaching at university because originally I'm a PhD in biochemistry. So my main idea are, my main passion are people. And so my girlfriend started to do improv and it looked so attractive that I started it as well. I fall super in love straight away. It's amazing. And the people are amazing, like you, like the teachers, like the fellow improv friends, like the audience. It's just amazing people. The only problem was in my little place, in my province, we have a little bit of theater sports, but not so much improv lessons, workshops, courses, especially nearly no courses. So I learned a lot of knowledge, or I got a lot of knowledge in theater pedagogic centers, where we have 3 of them here, which is more theater orientated. But the workshops were 2 days, so there was not a scripted theater. We did all these exercises, but from the point of view of theater. And I got totally hooked up to that. And then the pandemic came. And since then, I call myself prisoner of heaven because I'm locked up in my little house here in the countryside. And very early, I started to travel with the improv. And so I learned everything from the comedy to the long forms, Harold, and the drama. And I love them all, but the drama is for me at the moment the thing.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And I think it's always good when people introduce themselves. It's so much easier because it is an amazing story. I think a lot of people can relate to. Not the pandemic part. There's pros and cons for that for some people, but the fact that if you come from a place that doesn't offer it, what do you do and how do you reach out to get as much of it as possible? And there is so much out there. If you're addicted, don't worry. Die Stoff geht nie aus, right? You're always going to get your fix.
It's more than that. It's I dreamt of going to the known teachers of improv, and I did on some festivals in Europe. But you're there for a few days, and then you come home, and we called it the after festival blues, because who to train all this stuff? It's not only the teacher to train it. And now I can go to any teacher worldwide. But the beautiful thing is, like with you, we meet to train, to talk. Suddenly you live around the corner of me, even though there's 600 kilometers in between.
Right.
And it's wonderful.
It is. It makes it special, and it makes it also, you suddenly can add to the timing and just do a jam an hour here, half an hour there, have a great idea, call each other up and be like, Martin, I've just discovered something. We've got to talk about it. Let's do this, and that's where it's really like a friendship. Like you say, very quickly you develop amazing friendships that are interested in the same thing.
I meet with a lot of people personally or in 4-people groups, like my friend Will from the States. We started to do this last year, July, and we meet every week just for half an hour. But this is a real friendship developed. Huh?
Yes. Yeah. Martin, I want to go back on so people understand, because I think it does make a difference. You really do have a huge background in classical theatre, in teaching, in adult education. And I think this really, with you, I have to say, triggers through. You grasp an idea, you delve into it, you understand it for yourself, you try to understand it, and then you can present it and bring it to another group of people like no other. I'm going to say that. You're very quick at grasping. And what you do is you simplify it so that the people you're bringing it to understand it very quickly. They can then explore it further and try and figure out what it is through training. But you are very good at giving them the backbone, the structure, because you're a very structured person, which I love.
Thank you.
Now, and I really want to say this. This is why I think people all over the world are taking classes with you, because they're talking about you having an effect on them. They're talking about you. They take a class once, twice, and everybody's like, you've got to try him. He's amazing. It makes them go ping and open up new doors for them, so that they personally understand it. That is a gift. I just want to say it really is a gift. Even in Duluth, the soap opera, I know that a lot of our players there in America, they talked about you and they're like, Kira, Boedicker, and I was like, oh, Boedicker, you're playing with him too? Oh yeah, we're playing with him. They're getting training lessons from you. I mean, you are everywhere. And that's so nice.
Stop it now. Stop it now. I give this compliment to my late wife. And she was a teacher for pedagogics, and her main motto was a Maria Montessori motto, which is show me to do it myself.
Yeah.
And this is my approach, that we break down the complex situation of improv in small units where you can train special tools. It's not to plan, no principles or rules. It's the idea of tools. Yeah. And I have to thank Jules Mans from the nursery in London. He calls it even the tool belt. I have a certain tool belt, and if I only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And then it's not wrong, but you repeat yourself. So the idea is to have more tools. You have a saw, you have a screwdriver. And for me, the idea is to train them specifically, intensively. In normal workshops or courses, often they get presented, you do it once, and then you forget about them. And I note them, I write them down, and I think how to integrate them into this set of other tools. How to get this toolbox, this tool belt, as big, as a huge variety, that you have options as much as possible. That's my idea.
And to remember them, right? For them to remember them and have an easy access to them, yeah. Not a complex one that they forget.
That's the thing. Everyone who learns an instrument knows this. If you have guitar, you have different things you have to train. And once you know them, you play. Mm. And maybe when you play the Beatles, it works like that. You don't have to train much. But the moment you want to play Bach, you really have to work on it, on the technique. And I think in improv, it's the same when you play drama. Because in theater, drama has a 2,500 years history. And why throw all these tools and this knowledge away? Why invent the wheel yourself again when you can use this? And it's exactly not the plot monster. It's not about planning ahead. It's having tools to be free in the situation, to be free in the moment, that you do not have to think, what shall I do? What shall I do? No, you use these tools elegantly. And for that, you have to train them specifically. And
talk about that, Martin, because you are, at the moment at least, you are inspiring and infusing a lot of Doc Cooper. Yes. Format, and you found talk about that. Why Doc Cooper? Why did you choose that format and find that was the easiest way to train all of the different tools, though?
Yeah. My observation of myself was, for a long time, that I learned how to play wonderful characters, which I'm still struggling with. I'm not an actor, I have no acting background, but it's wonderful. And I learned to be in the moment, which works hopefully not so bad. But the problem is the scenes are often reduced to the clash of two interesting characters. And that's I see all the time. And this lasts for 5 minutes. And then there is not more. So then I got through several teachers like Winnie Françoise. There I did already last year, June, a workshop of dramatic tension. That there's more than character. There is something in the situation. You can create a dramatic situation. And how do you do that? And then I thought, how can I train that? And then I came back to Aristotle of his Boedicker, who says, everyone knows the sentence, the story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And every scene should have it. Ken Adams calls it a substantial scene. So I decided, let's cut the scene into 3 parts, the beginning, the middle, and the end, and train them specifically with all the tools, because for the platform, you need a different tool belt than for the middle part, the heightening, and you need a different tool belt for the end. And when you realize it's your role which you have to find, not only your character. Are you the protagonist? Are you the antagonist? You know which tools to use.
Yes.
And it's wonderful.
And especially, not only if you're working with one person, it still works, the format, if you're working with 2 or 3 people in a scene, it works if you're doing a solo in a scene. So if you roughly know the structure, I think this is the beauty of it. It just allows everybody to explore it, to delve in and to grasp it so much easier. And to then discover his own tools and say, this is perfect.
Exactly. Every improviser has his own tools anyway, and you can integrate. It's not a format. It is just an option or a tool to train a scene. And you can integrate everything and you can destroy it. And if you know you go that way and then you have a turnaround, it's wonderful. It's not you have to do that. It's the idea to open a universe for you. And I think the people feel like that.
And I also think that from a lot of teachers, and I have to say this, I know this sounds silly because you feel like I'm just giving you compliments, but you know, if not now, when, Martin? And I love to give people compliments, especially openly. I love to praise people. We don't do it enough. I think generally as humans, we don't do it enough, but you are a master of the tension, the dramatic tension, and really understanding the middle part of the beats. What is needed for that energy not to drop? For that's the core, right? The resolution will naturally evolve if you've figured out the middle part. And if you've set it up in the first act and you've set it up, how dare you almost not concentrate on the middle part? How dare you let all the pressure go? It's supposed to get in that pressure. We want to see that balloon almost pop. You work with so many visuals that we really understand what it is that you want to see and how we can train to get that pressure and to get that tension, the dramatic side, for it to be relatable, for it to be moving, so we can heighten it, raise the stakes, understand what we're losing. And you do that so easily, you know, the way you teach it. So thank you for this. And everybody out there, if you haven't met Martin Boedicker, now you've met him. Please
now.
Go to his workshops. You will, it's a huge win, a huge takeaway. Not just for students, for teachers, for everybody. I think this is beautiful. All right, I'm going to move on there because otherwise you'll start blushing and it will be
But I want to jump to, I learned in English to piggyback with, I want to piggyback on this dramatic tension. This is, it's true, this is one of my favorite things at the moment. I'm thinking and I'm teaching. The idea is not to quarrel, not to argue. A dramatic tension is then really dramatic when it changes your life, and this normally happens when you like the other person. Like with my son, I love him, he's the best son in the world, but I still have here and then really dramatic tension with him because I want him to do something different than he wants. Example today, he will soon have tests in school. Schools are reopened in Germany and he wants to go skateboarding. And we get into big dramatic tension, but not because we don't like each other. We don't argue. We really get into this conflict. What will he do this afternoon?
And you're so caring, right? You do it because you love him.
Yes, we have the tension because we love each other. And that's dramatic.
Yes.
That's a real drama.
I always say all the time, fight for love. Even if it's subconscious, I think people don't realize, not just in improv, in everyday life, the moment I give up on somebody, it's the moment I stop arguing, I stop discussing. It's the moment I say, whatever. As soon as I'm, though, invested in them and I want the best, people always want, they always have good intentions. They love each other. They want the best for their friends, for their family, for whoever it is, for projects. That's when you notice they're invested.
This is what we trained already with your group, to find this love, which makes a problem. Another thing of Aristotle is hamartia. It's a tragic error. So you first have to build up a protagonist who we love, who we like, who is an honorable man, an honorable woman, and who does just 1 second is not there, and then an error happens, a tragic error. What is the difference between an error and a tragic error? A tragic error can't be repaired. It's no way back. And then deal with the situation. And this is not about evil people or villains. It's about a human being which is suffering. And I think we all can connect to this. We did it, or we know somebody who did it. And that's why I love drama. I want then to connect to this person, and I want to feel with that person, and I want to go through this situation with him. I see the audience already.
The edge of the chairs.
And then don't drop it. Don't drop that tension. And this is an art you have to learn. Most people I know, and myself too, 1 year ago, you give advice, you find a solution. And then the story is over. Exactly.
I love you saying that, because this is one of the most aggravating things, right? Once you've realized how important it is to understand in the moment at all times, be aware, be present. Am I the antagonist or the protagonist? When are you changing? Because that can change as well.
Of course, it's wonderful. Nothing is fixed in improv.
And if you're not aware, if you're not in the moment, most people come in and they always want to give you a solution straight away.
I did lessons with Patty. I do lessons with Patty Stiles, and there we had exercises. They were called "Whose Show Is It?" And it doesn't mean it's fixed. It could change any time, but you should have this 2% brain power to realize whose show is it at that moment.
Right.
And the second quote of her, which I love, I repeat it all the time, is there has to be a spear carrier number 7. Not everyone can be Hamlet. And this is a problem in improv, that we are yes-ending so much that everyone is the same. Nobody has a role. Not always, not everyone, but often it happens. And if you find your role, if you know whose shows is it, you support this, or you twist it. Both are wonderful options.
Yes. And it really forces you just to be on your toes all the time, in the moment, present,
yes,
which is
exactly
with improv. You can never sleep, not even for a single.
There's a couple, Heather and Jules from the nursery, and Steve Thornton. He is Scotty Watson and Michael Gelman's student, but he lives in Portugal. And for them also, it's the idea of the inventory. You have to look back, never plan forward, but you have to build on what you have. Feel what is there, and be in the moment, but know what is behind you. Because then the story evolves in a way that the audience can connect to it. If they're coming twists and turns, Aristotle in that time, they call it ex machina. Suddenly something happens. But what? Do we need that? And this is again my Doc Cooper concept. We're making a very strong platform with a lot of specifics, and then stop. And then we build on it. My own picture on that is Lego. Yeah. When I have two brothers, we were 3. And when we built something with Lego together, we didn't know we had no plan what we built. We just started to do the foundation. So we spread out, we fanned out the bricks, and then we build it on top of it. But we 3 together. We never knew what will happen, but we were building on the foundation, not there and there and there. We were 3 boys. And then we had a nice structure, and then we were fighting with each other, like brothers do. But the idea is for me the same. We build a platform where we find out, where we discover who we are, where we are. And then it's enough.
Right. And use what's already there.
Use what's already there. Heather from the nursery, Heather Urquhart, she calls it the diamond shape. You fan it out, and then you focus again. I love these metaphors, these pictures. there's this moment when you know it's enough. It's so juicy, it's so interesting. There we are now, we go back.
Focus again, bring it back. Yeah.
Bring it all back, callbacks, integrate the things. And there I'm now inspired a lot by Ken Adams with his course of metaphors and symbolism. Plant into the platform a lot of metaphors and symbols, because this is real theater. In improv, we all often get, where are we? And then it's just a place. So we could be anyway. It's so boring. But choose that place. This place has memories. We are not at a place. If we are in a coffee, we too are in a coffee where we went all the time. This place has memories to us. It has a meaning. And then in the final, we will find out what happens to the place. Mm-hmm. And when the place gets destroyed, because a whole quarter will be new, we know what it means.
Right. And before that, we were talking so beautifully, also one of the big inspiration, Tony.
I call him Chicago Tony from the drama festival.
Yeah, he's a great one with kindling, right?
Fantastic. It's so beautiful. He uses objects he sees as seeds in the platform, but he gives them already emotional meaning, metaphoric meaning. And then at the right moment, he pulls them like there is a vase. And then at the right moment, I take the vase and it falls down. And it was not just one vase. It was maybe a vase you gave me for a birthday present or something. And then it falls. Oops.
And there we have it. So really using the objects and giving them so much. So it's again, it's grounding the scene. It's making the atmosphere, being part of that atmosphere.
Making it a theater. We don't tell, we show.
Yes. I
don't tell our relationship ends. I show it.
Right. Right.
It's so cool. And my main question was how to train something like that you do not forget them, that you really have a solid tool belt. And this was the original idea of this Doc Cooper, that you have a simple format for a simple but dramatic scene, not just a scene, a dramatic scene. And then every time we meet, we can say, we trained this, or you went to a workshop and you learned this and that, like we did today. Before the session, we had a little talk and you already get some inspiration, and then we can train it straight away because we both know that format.
Yes.
So we know we can do it, but then we use this certain tool and try. And it's so beautiful.
New things, you know, that's the beauty of it. Have an idea, wake up and be like, oh, let's try this, let's try this. I got a phone.
In that structure, exactly. That's why I like that structure. It's a little bit, I compare it sometimes to sports. If you play tennis, everyone knows how to play what the lines mean, but the play itself is improvised. There's not one tennis game like the other. And the drama only develops because we know how it works. Otherwise, we could shoot the ball there, or I take it and throw it into the other place. Makes no sense. This is not drama. This is
I think the beautiful thing about the Doc Cooper, once you learn that sort of, the platform, it doesn't have rigid, like if you know the structure, but then it's all about, now you've learned it, chuck it away and start exploring it. That's where the fun starts. And there is no stopping to this structure. It's the most simple, effective and beautiful one.
The last 3 weeks were so creative because I created now an extended Doc Cooper for 4 people, a 20-minute structure, which is a wonderful dramatic play. It's in the end a simple structure just with a double circle of heightening. It follows Gustav Freitag's 5-act structure of a drama. So you have a platform, you have a rising action, you have a climax, you have a falling action and the resolution. But you do it with 4 people and you have then 4 points of view, and then it really gets wild. And when the structure is known, I trained it with a small group, and in the middle of the play, the internet broke down of one person. So we went on. We said, this guy left, how ugly he is. And he came back 6 minutes later and he was able to identify where are we in the play. And then we integrated him, and it gave even the big juice because he was gone. We were able to talk about him. And then he came back as a character and it had a grand finale. It was really big. And that's what I like, that these structures, once they established and you break it, everyone knows. Now we break it. Now we go wild. Now we go different.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Martin, now that you've played with so many people all over the world, have you noticed a terminology difference when we're talking about dramatic improv? For example, a lot of people call it narrative improv.
Mhm.
Maybe in other parts of the world, you've heard something else.
Yeah.
What's
A
your
monoscene.
experience?
Yesterday, I heard the term monoscene for the long form. There are lots of words out there. For me, it's who can define that? There is no authority, so I only can say how I feel. For me, drama is when there's a dramatic situation. What is a dramatic situation? The difference to an argument or to other stories, narrative stories, is a dramatic situation means that you and your life will be fully changed. This is a dramatic situation. It can happen by outside forces. It can happen by the dramatic mistake. It can happen that you have an inner conflict which has to be solved. So a dramatic situation has to be solved, and it will change everything.
Beautifully said, and I like that your version is so precise. Very beautiful. Thank
And
you.
then it's drama, and we can learn how to deal with that, how to heighten it, and how to make it strong. And it doesn't mean that others are not good or the other whatever. No, it's just a certain style, and this style I like to develop.
You prefer dramatic improv over comedy improv? Do you do much comedy improv? No.
Yes. Not so much anymore, because it's just the drama. What I love is that it makes such a strong connection to the audience of normal, not improvising audience.
Right.
Because a herald, if I show it my neighbors, they will, what the hell is that man doing?
Change the channel.
Yes, but I have here 6 minutes drama scenes, and they look and say, oh, that's interesting. It's so, again, it's just a decision what I want to do at the moment.
Right. If I say to you, hey, let's do some narrative improv, what do you think of? What do you understand under narrative improv in a short sentence?
Oh no, I can tell you one idea. For me, narrative is that you tell a story and you're not focusing, what I said before, on the character, on funny, interesting, deep characters. This is the one. What more important for me is storytelling. I just love stories, always. That's maybe why I ended up with this drama thing. So we could also sit at a campfire and tell our stories together. That's why Zoom works with the drama improv so well. I have to say, it really works well, because the story is so important. If you have clown, for example, I love clowns, but you need the physicality. You need to see him. You need the stage.
Yes.
Because it's not that the story is not so important. And again, it's not about a value of it. It's just a different kind of art.
Yes. No. Very, very different. Very different.
Yeah.
The same with mine.
I did clown workshops. And what, for example, I learned in one clown workshop, this changed also my improv, was the idea we did duo clowns. And the main rule for that teacher, wonderful woman from Cologne, she said, you know, as an audience, that these clowns will be friends forever. They might get in funny conflict. It might go really wild. You know what clowns can do to each other. Think of Stan and Ollie. But you know this friendship will never break. So you can enjoy the trouble, the drama, because you know it will have a great happy end. And
Actually, it's true. I remember if you just, when we're kids, even adults, we go into a circus, which is not very often, but if we do, we meet the classic two clowns. And there's always trouble, and they're always completely the opposite. You always have the silly and the stupid, or the funny and the sad. You always have the opposite, but you accept them straight away, and you know they love each other. They can't live without each other. They you know, and
the love is so important, and the love makes a drama.
Yeah.
Not that they have cancer or they divorce. This is not so important. It can be there, but the main thing is they love each other, and that's why they're in trouble.
And often they don't work alone. They only work because they're together, right? Yeah. And they don't tell us their relationship. They don't come to the audience at the circus and tell us how long they've been together and what's going on. They just start. And we
And
just accept it.
there was an artist in Düsseldorf called Immendorf. He died terribly of ALS, and he gave an interview 4 weeks before he died. And there he was looking back at his life, and he said, my mom told me when I was a child, I played Superman. And then he said, that was so true. When I was a child, I was Superman.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it really changed a lot for me, because this is for me improv. And again, I come back to the Doc Cooper. When I know the structure in which I play, and I'm allowed to throw it away if I need to be, I just can be it. I don't have to think, where do I want to go? I don't have to plan ahead. I know my character and I know my role. And then I am it. And I see it with people who train this. They just relax in this. So often you see people working so hard in improv because they think, what shall I do? Where shall I go? What is happening around me? And the idea is to get rid of this pressure. And this is all not my idea. I just gave it a name because it had to have a name that we can talk about it. It's really the inspiration of all the teachers around me. And this is the pandemic that gave me access, and that I remember. It was terrible. My first days in the States to understand the English and I can communicate in English, but to understand improvised native speakers, it's good fun.
Yes, I believe that. Martin, I just want to say, I think you've, the fact that you did give it a name, the fact that you did, try and compromise it, and I think this is already a big win, and I think the world will start to really get to know you. Exactly for this format, I think, or format for the structure. Like you say,
it's a tool. I call it a tool.
People call it changing it all the time. Make your mind up.
It's a tool to understand dramatic situations, dramatic processes. That one understands it, then one can play it or one can change it. But you understand what is there. And this is not my knowledge. This is the knowledge of 2,500 years of theater work.
Yes, but you're the one that's bringing it together and making sense of it for so many people to be like, all of these workshops of these wonderful improvisers and teachers, like you say, out there, there's so many that inspire us. But now we don't feel like we have to just do this. Suddenly it's bringing all of that knowledge together as an individual and saying, I finally find something where I can use all of those tools. I can choose, I can see them in front of me. And I think that's the inspiration, why you're having so much success at the moment and traveling so much with your improv and getting to know more and more people, and they're getting to know you.
But I want to go on with meeting all these wonderful people. And that's why I connect them now. I have my little theater online, because like we met now and we inspire each other so much. And this now or never. No?
Exactly. Now or never. Live in the moment. Have you ever played a character for 24 episodes in your life, like we are doing in Duluth?
Nearly. Not so professional, not so wonderful like you do it, but in real life, I had a wonderful group on Tuesdays. That's why they called it Tuesdays. And we played Hotel Bristol, a little format I developed. It's the 4 year of Hotel Bristol. And we had characters, each of us had 2. And it was like a soap. Every Tuesday we played a new 40 minutes show in that foyer with that characters. And we had many adventures there. Sometimes it was serious, sometimes it was boulevard fun, sometimes it was magic realism. We had a lot of things which were able to talk to us. So it was not like Duluth being really going, but we had the same characters and we developed them. So I know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, that's good, because I'm going to ask you for the tips you would give to Duluth and the whole cast and crew, because even the editor is live in the moment. Everybody is live, the sound master, the music master, everybody's live in the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. What would you give them as tips to be able to pull this off?
The one thing is, if you want to enjoy your character, and that's, I think, you have to like your character, even if he might be a villain. But that's the thing, you have to like your character. And I did these classes with Inba Lori about playing uncomfortable scenes. And that's what she was showing us so much. Everyone has a side, and it has to be you. And then you can play, then you can stay in the character for a long time. I can imagine this must be very beautiful. Because when you play a longer time the same character, you can just start to explore, to discover things of this character.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is there's this difference between a series and a one play. In a drama play, we want to see a change, a total change in characters. That's what I said. The dramatic situation is changing everything. In a series like Duluth, it can only happen at the end, because people want to see the character evolving from the same spot in the end. When you think of Dallas, J.R. Ewing was never becoming a good man. He's not allowed, because then the story would be over. At the end, he could. So the idea is, at the end of the day, you are more or less the same, but you can discover more about your character, how to make the character more interesting. And then maybe at the very end, you have a very good reason to change.
Right, we've talked about this so often because it's so much fun. Having a character, he can have rises, he can have falls, because he's always going to try something. There's going to be something that's going to interest him. He's going to try and get it. Does he manage? That's the question. How does he manage? I think him falling back into his typical character traits is exactly the tension that we want the audience to feel. We know them already, and they always make the same mistake. And you want the audience to be like, no, why? That's what.
But the opposite is true as well. The audience want to see this. They will turn off to see you fail.
Yes.
They will turn on to see you succeed in a certain thing, because they love this character.
Yeah.
And once it's over, you know the effect. Oh, they're part of your family. Because think of your parents, think of your kids. Do they change every 2 weeks? No, they are constant. And they're only new situations. And that's why this format in the end is also connecting the audience so much to the players, and opposite way around. It is like real life.
Right. Yes.
It's part of our life. People connect to it. They want to see it again and again, because they recognize the patterns. We humans are pattern recognizing machines. This is our strong part. A child cannot talk, a baby, but it already sees. So in a thing like Duluth, people want to see that, this constant behavior, but challenged by a lot of different situations.
Emotions, adventures, situations.
Yes. Wonderful. I love it. I love your project. I can't wait for it, because I just saw it when you had the auditions, and then it was gone for a while. And then I played with many people who suddenly all are in the Duluth team. And I play with them, and we talk, we do improv philosophy. And so I saw a little bit your development, and now I'm sitting there. When will it start? When will it start? But for you, it must be terrible, isn't it?
It is. It's the anxiety's growing. We're all sort of biting the nails. We're like, oh my God, there's still so much to do. But we're all excited, and I think it's going to be a great journey, not just for the Duluth team and cast, but I think also really for the audience. I think for them, and not people that know improv, but obviously people that don't know, because like you said, we're trying to make it more like a drama that they can relate to, but also for the improvisers again to see, wow, does this work? And all the technicals behind it. I mean, that's what WIN is all about. WIN, the Worldwide Improv Network, who's producing the whole thing. This is only the first. And this is really the starting point of trying to televise improv to a new audience, not just the improvisers. For improvisers to be able to have a platform to say, hey, we've got a great team, or we've got a great idea. Will you produce it for us? They can come to WIN and say, you've got the whole setup. You even have the people that train. This is our idea, let's do it. And they could do it for.
But it's even bigger. I see it even bigger. What I see, because I know you are based in Germany, I know Lucy in Britain, I know Pete, Teresa in the States, I know Luis in Mexico. This is a light in this pandemic.
Yes.
It's not just a Duluth series. People connect all over the continents to make such a project, not just a show or something. It's huge. It's huge, and can give one hope. And I have no doubt, I know you all as actors, it will be wonderful, because it's your passion. It comes from the heart. It's not just a project. We will all have to thank you. When this is done, you changed. This is dramatic again. It's a dramatic situation. You changed something for all of us, also for the audience. Really.
We hope so, and this is the part of the adventure. And you know what? We also hope that everybody else then comes to us and says, "Hey, I want to go at it. Let's do it. Let's do a new project, and let's do this time. You can change the genre. You can say we want to do whatever, a sci-fi or a musical. There's going to be so many projects on the side, and I think that's the fun of it.
But imagine last year, June, somebody would have proposed this. I mean, science fiction or...
Especially because it's all over the world, people getting
exactly that. To bring all these improvisers of all the different backgrounds together. Alone, this is so wonderful.
And to say there's no limitations. I think it's not just the diverse cast. We want a diverse theme, but we want really diverse and say there is no boundaries that we don't want to try and push open. Through internet, we can do everything nowadays. Let's use it and see the possibilities of where improv can really get to. I have to say, we will probably be, Duluth itself has the big Catalyst contest. It's called the Catalyst contest. It's a film festival contest where they are becoming bigger and bigger in the film industry, whether it's HBO, Netflix, they all want to produce there. It's beautiful around that area. And there's a huge festival every year. 16 years it's been running. And they have reached out to us and said, we think you should, with your project from Duluth. They're very honored that we're doing it about Duluth and that we're setting the scene there. And they said, we want you to actually go for this competition because you are unique. We don't have any improvisers there. Usually it's proper films, it's proper movies that are being made there. And they said, please enter this competition and it will shed us a lot of light. And so we were like, wow, okay, what a privilege and honor. Already this project, we haven't even aired yet. People are hearing about it, they're writing about it, and they want to see where the potential is.
And that's what I said with dramatic situation. This is changing something. And it's exactly what we need at the moment.
Martin, thank you so much for joining me today. And oh my God, we will be seeing each other very soon. Tune in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, the WIN channel, WIN for World Improv Network. And I'm so looking forward to doing so many more things with you personally. And we're just going to keep going and developing and having fun. Thank you.
Gorgeous.
All right.